Hey everyone, first time posting here, but I need to get this out before I lose my goddamn mind. I'm Arthur, 34M, forensic accountant. Yeah, I'm one of those guys who stares at spreadsheets all day looking for financial fraud. Ironic, right? Because I just found out I've been living the biggest fraud of my life. I've been with my business partner Marcus for 6 years. We run a mid-sized forensic accounting firm together, Sterling and Hayes Financial Consulting. We're the guys companies hire when they suspect embezzlement, when divorce lawyers need asset searches, when the IRS needs expert witnesses. We're good at what we do, or I thought we were both good at it. My wife Elena and I have been married for 8 years. She's a pharmaceutical sales rep, makes decent money, travels a lot for work. We met in college, got married young, bought a house in the suburbs. The whole American dream package. No kids yet because we were waiting for the right time. Another ironic detail you'll understand later. 3 weeks ago, I was doing our quarterly internal audit. Standard procedure every quarter, I review all our accounts, client billings, operational expenses. It's boring as hell, but it keeps us compliant and honest. Or so I thought. I found a discrepancy. Small at first, minus $3,200 in a client reimbursement account that didn't match the invoice records. Now $3,200 might not sound like much, but in forensic accounting, any discrepancy is a red flag. It's like finding a single cancer cell. You don't ignore it. I dug deeper, pulled 6 months of records, then a year, then 2 years. Marcus has been stealing from our firm for at least 18 months, maybe longer. I'm still tracing everything back. We're talking about $340,000 so far, and I'm only halfway through the analysis. He's been using a technique called salami slicing, taking tiny amounts from multiple accounts so no single theft is large enough to trigger automatic flags. Client reimbursements, operational petty cash, even our equipment depreciation fund. The man is good, I'll give him that. If I wasn't obsessively thorough, I might never have caught it. He's been doctoring invoices, creating fake vendor accounts, even setting up shell LLCs to invoice us for services never rendered. It's textbook embezzlement, executed with the precision of someone who knows exactly how forensic accountants think. Because of course he does. He is one. I spent 4 days in my home office barely sleeping, building the case. Elena kept asking if I was okay, bringing me coffee, rubbing my shoulders. "You're working too hard, baby," she'd say. "Come to bed." I'd smile and tell her I was fine. Just a complicated case. She'd kiss my forehead and leave me alone. The photographic memory I've always had, the one that makes me exceptional at my job, was working overtime. Every transaction, every date, every routing number burned into my brain. I created a spreadsheet with 247 tabs documenting every fraudulent transaction. I color-coded them by method, by account, by time period. And that's when I noticed something else. Something that made my stomach drop. The timing of the largest transfers coincided exactly with Elena's work trips. I pulled up her calendar. March 15th, Elena in Chicago for a pharmaceutical conference. Marcus transferred $18,000. June 3rd, Elena in Miami for a training seminar. Marcus transferred $22,000. September 8th, Elena in Vegas for a product launch. Marcus transferred $31,000. 10 instances over 14 months. Perfect correlation. I sat there at 3 a.m. staring at my monitors and felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger. Not yet. Just this crystalline clarity, this mathematical certainty that I was looking at 2 parallel frauds. I checked Elena's credit card statements. Found charges at hotels Marcus's corporate card also showed charges at. Same hotels, same dates, different rooms on the same floor in 2 instances. They weren't even trying that hard to hide it. I could have confronted them right then. Could have called Marcus, called Elena, burned everything down immediately. But that's not how I work. I deal in evidence, in irrefutable proof, in building cases so airtight that denial becomes impossible. So I started building something else, not just a case, a trap. The thing about embezzlers is they always have an exit strategy, always. They're not stealing money to sit on it, they're stealing it to use it. And if Marcus has taken $340,000 and counting, he's planning to run. I started monitoring his digital footprint. We share access to the firm's systems, which means I can see everything he does on our network. Every email, every file accessed, every website visited on company devices. It took me 3 days to find it. A folder buried in an encrypted partition on our shared server, labeled estate planning documents. Clever. Most people wouldn't look twice at something that boring. I cracked the encryption in 40 minutes. Inside were flight confirmations, hotel reservations, bank account numbers for offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, and a PDF scan of a passport. Elena's passport. They were leaving, together, March 23rd, 2 weeks from today, one-way tickets to Grand Cayman, connecting through Miami. They'd booked a beachfront villa for 3 months initially with option to extend. I printed everything, saved it to 3 different encrypted drives, uploaded it to a secure cloud server. Then I deleted my access logs and closed the files like I'd never seen them. That night, Elena came home from dinner with a client at 11 p.m., smelling like Marcus's cologne. I know his cologne because we've worked in the same office for 6 years. It's this expensive shit he special orders from Italy, unmistakable. She kissed me and said she was exhausted. I told her I understood, asked how the client dinner went. She gave me the same story she always gives, generic details about the restaurant, the client's name, what they ordered. Probably all lies. I smiled and told her I loved her. She said she loved me too. I watched her go upstairs to shower and felt absolutely nothing. No heartbreak, no rage, no betrayal. Just this cold, analytical part of my brain already working out the next steps. Because here's what Marcus and Elena don't understand. I don't just find fraud. I study it. I understand the psychology of it, the patterns, the inevitable mistakes every criminal makes. And I've built a career on using those mistakes to destroy them. They think they're so fucking clever. They think they've planned this perfectly. They think I'm too boring, too focused on my spreadsheets, too emotionally unavailable to notice what's happening right in front of me. They're about to learn that the most dangerous person in the room is the one who sees everything and shows nothing. I've got 2 weeks until their flight. 2 weeks to build the perfect trap. 2 weeks to make sure that when they try to run, they'll run straight into a cage of their own making. This isn't about revenge. Revenge is emotional, messy, unpredictable. This is about justice. Mathematical, precise, inevitable justice. I'll keep you posted. I need to document this somewhere, and something tells me you folks will appreciate the story. Wish me luck, or don't. Luck has nothing to do with what happens next. Update. It's been 5 days since my last post. Thanks for all the comments and messages. Some of you asked if I was okay if I needed to talk to someone. I appreciate it, but I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. I'm focused. Let me explain what I've been doing. First, I need you to understand something about embezzlement. It's not like in the movies where someone transfers $1 million and disappears to a beach somewhere. Real embezzlement is a long con. It requires maintenance, constant attention, covering your tracks every single day. And it creates dependencies, ways the thief has to interact with the system to keep the fraud going. Marcus has to make regular transfers to his offshore accounts. He has to maintain the fake vendor relationships. He has to access certain files on our server. And he has to do all of this without raising suspicion. So I've been watching every keystroke, every file access, every email. Our firm's IT infrastructure isn't sophisticated. We're only 12 employees, but it's enough for me to monitor everything Marcus does. I've identified his pattern. Every Tuesday and Thursday between 6:30 and 7:15 a.m. he comes into the office early, before anyone else, and makes his transfers. He uses a VPN to mask his IP, routes the traffic through our company's legitimate banking access, and moves money in increments small enough to avoid automatic fraud alerts. He thinks he's being careful. He's not careful enough. Yesterday, I installed a keylogger on his workstation. Not the computer itself. That would be too obvious if he ever checked. I installed it on the docking station for his laptop. Every time he connects his laptop to his desk setup, the keylogger activates and captures everything. I now have his passwords to the offshore accounts. I have his login credentials for the fake vendor portals. I have access to everything, but I'm not using any of it yet, because I don't just want to catch Marcus stealing. I want to destroy him so completely that he can't wiggle out of it with lawyers and excuses. Let me tell you about my wife's schedule. Elena has a business trip planned for next week, March 18th through 20th. According to her calendar, she's going to Boston for a pharmaceutical conference. According to the encrypted files I found on Marcus's server, she's actually meeting him in New York for a romantic weekend getaway before their big escape to Grand Cayman. Here's where it gets interesting. I called Elena's company yesterday, pretending to be a conference coordinator confirming attendance. They told me Elena requested those days off as personal time. There is no pharmaceutical conference in Boston. She lied to me about the entire trip. So I did something perhaps a bit unethical, but fuck it, these people are planning to rob me blind and abandon me. I accessed Elena's email. She uses the same password for everything, the name of her childhood dog plus her birth year. Not very creative. The emails between her and Marcus are, well, they're exactly what you'd expect. Lots of "I can't wait to start our new life together," and just a few more weeks until we're free, and Arthur suspects nothing, he's too buried in his work to notice anything. That last one stung a bit, I'll admit. Not because she's wrong, I am buried in my work, but because she's using my dedication as an excuse for her betrayal. But here's the detail that matters. They're planning to make one final massive transfer on March 22nd, the day before their flight. Marcus is going to clean out every accessible account, our operating fund, our client escrow accounts, everything. We're talking about potentially $800,000 to $1.2 million total. And then they're gone. Except they're not going to make it to that flight. I've been building something. A financial trap so elegant that when it springs, they won't even understand what hit them until it's too late. Here's how it works. Our firm handles escrow accounts for several major clients, money that passes through our accounts as part of legal settlements, corporate transactions, that kind of thing. We're legally required to maintain those funds in specific accounts and transfer them according to court orders and contractual agreements. Marcus knows this. He's been careful not to touch the escrow money because stealing from escrow accounts is a federal crime with mandatory prison time. Embezzling from our operational funds is bad, but it's a civil matter mostly. Steal from escrow and the FBI gets involved. So I've been moving money, not stealing. I'm not Marcus. I've been restructuring our accounts, shifting money between our various funds in ways that are technically legitimate but create a very specific vulnerability. On March 21st, when Marcus makes his final transfers, he's going to think he's taking money from our operational reserves. But because of how I've restructured everything, he's actually going to be pulling $400,000 from a client escrow account. He won't realize this until the transaction is complete. The account numbers look almost identical. I made sure of that by requesting new accounts from our bank for improved organizational structure. By the time he figures out what he's done, the money will be in his offshore account. And that's when I call the FBI. But wait, there's more. I've also been documenting everything Elena and Marcus have been doing. I hired a private investigator, paid him in cash. No connection to me or the firm. He's been following them for the past week, photographing their meetings, their hotel visits, everything. The pie is expensive as hell, but I've got the money. I've been taking small amounts from the same accounts Marcus has been stealing from, just enough to cover my expenses. When this is over, I'll return it all. But right now, I need resources. The pie confirmed what I already knew. They meet every Tuesday and Thursday, same hotel, same room. They're not even creative about it. Last Thursday, I was in a client meeting across town while Elena texted me that she was working late at the office. The pie sent me a photo of her walking into the Marriott with Marcus at 6:45 p.m. I saved that photo, added it to the file. Yesterday, something unexpected happened. My business partner called a firm meeting all 12 employees, said he wanted to discuss the future of the company, and announce some exciting changes. I sat there in the conference room watching him present a PowerPoint about strategic growth opportunities and expanding our client base, and I wanted to laugh. This man who's been robbing us blind for 18 months is standing there talking about the firm's future like he's actually going to be part of it. After the meeting, he pulled me aside. "Hey Arthur, you've seemed distracted lately. Everything okay?" I looked him in the eye, this man I've worked with for 6 years, who was the best man at my wedding, who I trusted with my business and my livelihood. And I smiled. "Everything's perfect, Marcus. Just working on a complicated case. You know how it is." "Yeah, man, I get it. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about something. I'm thinking about taking some time off next month. Maybe a week or two. I've been working really hard and I think I need a break." "Of course," I said. "You've earned it. Where are you thinking of going?" "Maybe the Caribbean. I've never been to the Cayman Islands." The audacity. The absolute fucking audacity. "Sounds amazing," I told him. "You should definitely do it. You deserve a real vacation." We shook hands. He thanked me for being such a great partner and friend. I went back to my office and added that conversation to my documentation. Every lie, every manipulation, every betrayal. It's all going in the file. Tonight, Elena asked me if I wanted to go out for dinner this weekend, just the two of us. Said we haven't been spending enough quality time together lately. I agreed, made reservations at the Italian place where I proposed to her 8 years ago. Figured if this is our last meal together as a married couple, we might as well do it somewhere meaningful. She has no idea what's coming. Neither does Marcus. They're both so confident, so sure that their plan is foolproof. In exactly 9 days, they're going to learn that you don't con a forensic accountant. You definitely don't con a forensic accountant with a photographic memory and unlimited patience. The trap is almost ready. All the pieces are moving into position. And when it springs, it's going to be beautiful. I'll update again soon. This is actually therapeutic writing this all out. Thanks for following along. Quick update because things are moving fast now. It's March 17th. 6 days until Marcus makes his final transfer. 7 days until their flight. I've barely slept in the past week, but I don't need sleep right now. I need focus. The private investigator called me yesterday morning. He's got everything I need, dozens of photos, video footage, hotel records, restaurant receipts. He even managed to get a recording of them in the hotel bar talking about their plans. Apparently Marcus promised Elena they'd live like royalty in the Caymans, that the money he's saved up would last them years. Saved up, that's what he's calling it. The money he stole from our company, from our clients, from me. I paid the pie his final invoice minus $12,000 total for 2 weeks of work. Worth every penny. He handed me a USB drive with everything organized and time-stamped. Professional work. Whatever this guy did to you, the PI said, I hope you fucking destroy him. I will, I told him, methodically. Last night was the dinner with Elena. The Italian restaurant where I proposed, where we celebrated our first anniversary, where we used to go for every special occasion, back when things were good between us. She wore the red dress I bought her for our 5th anniversary, looked beautiful, smiled at me across the table like she meant it, reached across and held my hand. I feel like we've been distant lately, she said. Like you're always working and I'm always traveling and we never really connect anymore. I squeezed her hand. I know, I'm sorry. Work has been in tits. Maybe we should plan a vacation, just the two of us. Get away from everything. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I'd like that, I said. Where would you want to go? Somewhere tropical. The Caribbean maybe. White beaches, clear water, no responsibilities. She was describing the Grand Cayman villa she'd already booked with Marcus. Right down to the white beaches and clear water. I smiled. That sounds perfect. Let's do it. Maybe in a few months when things settle down at work. A few months, she looked disappointed. I was thinking sooner, like next month, after she was supposed to be gone. After she'd already destroyed our marriage and helped steal from my company, she was actually trying to keep me as a backup plan. I wish I could, I said. But we've got this huge case wrapping up in April. I can't leave Marcus to handle it alone. Her face twitched when I mentioned Marcus. Just for a second, then the mask was back. Right, of course, work comes first. It won't always be like this, I lied. I promise. We finished dinner. She ordered tiramisu, her favorite. I watched her eat it and wondered if she felt anything at all. Guilt, remorse, anything. I don't think she did. When we got home she initiated sex. First time in 2 months. It felt like performance, like she was trying to keep me convinced everything was normal. I played along. Because that's what this whole thing is now, a performance. Her performing the role of loving wife, me performing the role of oblivious husband, and somewhere across town Marcus performing the role of trustworthy business partner. But in 6 days the performance ends. This morning I went into the office early, 5:30 a.m. before anyone else arrives. I needed to finalize the account restructuring I've been working on. The escrow trap is set. On March 21st, when Marcus accesses what he thinks is our operational reserve account, he'll actually be pulling from the Hendrick Corporation escrow minus $400,000 we're holding for a corporate merger settlement. The account numbers are nearly identical. Operational is XX774392. Escrow is XX774329. Easy to confuse if you're moving fast and confident you know what you're doing. Marcus will be moving fast. He'll be confident. And he'll make the mistake. I've also set up automatic alerts on all our accounts. The moment money moves, I'll get a notification. The moment Marcus transfers that $400,000, I'll know exactly what he's done. And then I make the call. I've already drafted the report for the FBI. 37 pages documenting every fraudulent transaction, every falsified invoice, every piece of evidence proving systematic embezzlement and federal wire fraud. I've included bank records, email correspondence, timeline analysis, everything. I've also retained a divorce attorney. Her name is Patricia Chen, and according to every lawyer I researched, she's the most ruthless family law attorney in the state. She doesn't lose, ever. I met with her yesterday afternoon, showed her everything I have on Elena and Marcus. The photos, the hotel records, the emails, the financial documents proving Marcus has been funneling money into offshore accounts Elena has access to. Patricia smiled when she saw it all. Your wife's attorney is going to have a very bad day when this lands on their desk. I want everything, I told her. The house, the cars, every asset we have jointly. I want her to walk away with nothing. Oh, she'll walk away with less than nothing, Patricia said. By the time I'm done, she'll owe you money. I'm paying Patricia a $25,000 retainer. She's worth it. Everything is ready now. The FBI report is drafted. The divorce papers are prepared. The private investigator's evidence is compiled. The financial trap is set. Marcus and Elena have no idea they're walking into a cage. Tomorrow is March 18th, Elena's fake Boston conference. She's actually meeting Marcus in New York for their romantic weekend getaway. The Pi confirmed the hotel reservation, the St. Regis, a suite with a view of Central Park. I'm not going to stop her from going. I'm going to let her have her fun, let them both believe they're getting away with everything. Because in 4 days it all comes crashing down. I keep thinking about something one of you commented on my first post. You said, the best revenge is living well. Respectfully, I disagree. The best revenge is watching the people who wronged you face the exact consequences they deserve. Not because you're angry. Anger is temporary. But because justice, real justice, is permanent. In 4 days, Marcus will commit federal wire fraud. He'll steal from a client escrow account which carries mandatory prison time. The FBI doesn't plea bargain on this kind of thing. He's looking at 10 to 15 years minimum. In 4 days, Elena will lose everything. The house, her savings, her reputation. She'll be unemployed. Her company has a morality clause and they don't keep sales reps who get caught in fraud investigations. She'll be broke, humiliated, and alone. And me, in 4 days, I'll be free. Free from a business partner who betrayed me, free from a wife who never really loved me, free from the weight of maintaining a life that was built on lies. I'll rebuild the firm, hire honest people, take on honest work. I'll keep the house because I like the house and I've earned it. I'll probably get a dog. I've always wanted a dog, but Elena was allergic. Except she's not allergic. I found out from her medical records, yes, I accessed those too, sue me, that she lied about the allergy because she didn't want a dog in the house. Just another small lie in an ocean of lies. I'm going to get a German Shepherd, going to name him Justice. Because I'm petty like that. 4 more days. I can last 4 more days. I'll update when it's done, when Marcus has made his final mistake and the trap has sprung shut. Thanks for being here for this. Seriously. It helps to know someone out there is witnessing this, that I'm not crazy for wanting them to pay for what they've done. Almost over now, almost time for the reckoning. I need to write this down while it's still fresh. While I can still remember every word, every facial expression, every moment of what just happened. It's March 22nd, 2:47 p.m. I'm sitting in an FBI field office interrogation room, and I just experienced the most surreal 3 hours of my life. But let me back up, tell you how we got here. Yesterday, March 21st, Marcus came into the office at 6:30 a.m. like clockwork. I was already there, had been since 5 a.m., watching the security cameras from my laptop in my car across the street. I watched him walk in, watched the lights go on in his office, waited. At 6:52 a.m. my phone pinged. Transaction alert. $400,000 transferred from account XX774329 to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. He'd done it. The escrow account, exactly as I'd planned. I waited 5 minutes, let him finish his coffee, let him think everything had gone perfectly. Then I called Special Agent Rebecca Santos at the FBI. I'd been in contact with her for a week, laying the groundwork, sending preliminary evidence. She'd been waiting for this call. It's done, I told her. He just stole $400,000 from a client escrow account. I'm sending you the transaction records now. We'll be there in 20 minutes, she said. I went into the office. Marcus was in his room, looking relaxed, probably feeling like everything was falling into place. Tomorrow he'd be on a plane with Elena, starting their new life. Morning, Arthur, he said when I walked past. You're here early. Big day, I said. Lots to wrap up. The FBI arrived at 7:43 a.m. Zig's agents, 3 vehicles. They came through the front door with a warrant for Marcus's arrest and a seizure order for all our financial records. The look on his face when Special Agent Santos walked into his office with handcuffs, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. Confusion, then fear, then this desperate calculation as his brain tried to figure out what had gone wrong. Marcus Hayes, you're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and theft from a federally protected escrow account. You have the right to remain silent. They led him out in handcuffs. Our entire staff was watching. Janice from accounting was crying. Tom from IT looked shocked. I stood there with my arms crossed watching as they passed me. Marcus looked at me. Arthur, what the fuck is happening? Tell them this is a mistake. I met his eyes. The mistake was thinking I wouldn't notice. Understanding hit him then. His face went white. They kept walking. I spent the next 4 hours giving my statement to the FBI, handing over everything I'd compiled, every document, every email, every transaction record. Special Agent Santos kept looking at me with this expression I couldn't quite read. Mr. Sterling, she finally said, this is the most thoroughly documented case of embezzlement I've seen in 15 years. You could teach a class on financial investigation. I'm very good at my job, I said. Apparently, they seized Marcus's laptop, his phone, his files. They froze his offshore accounts. Turns out the Cayman authorities are very cooperative when the FBI comes calling with evidence of wire fraud. The $400,000 he'd transferred was already frozen. So was the other $340,000 from previous transfers. All of it, gone, inaccessible. At 11:30 a.m. they arrested Elena at her office. I wasn't there for that, but my divorce attorney Patricia called me with the details. Apparently Elena tried to claim she knew nothing about Marcus's activities, that she was just his girlfriend and had no involvement in the financial crimes. The FBI showed her the emails, her own words in her own account discussing the offshore money and their plans. She stopped talking and asked for a lawyer. Patricia was delighted. Her lawyer is going to tell her she's completely fucked. Accessory to wire fraud, conspiracy, probably money laundering when they dig deeper. She's looking at prison time. Good, I said. And then this afternoon Special Agent Santos called me. Mr. Sterling, we need you to come down to the field office. We have some questions. Am I under investigation? No, but there are some irregularities we need to discuss. So here I am, in this small gray room with a table and 3 chairs and a mirror that's obviously two-way glass. Sitting across from Special Agent Rebecca Santos, who's looking at me like I'm a puzzle she can't quite solve. Walk me through the timeline again, she says. When exactly did you discover the embezzlement? 3 weeks ago. March 1st Street, I was doing our quarterly internal audit and found a discrepancy in a client reimbursement account. And you didn't report it immediately. I wanted to build a complete case first. Make sure I had all the evidence. She taps her pen against her notepad. You spent 3 weeks investigating your own business partner for embezzlement, documented everything in extraordinary detail, set up a financial restructuring that ensured he'd steal from a protected escrow account, and then waited for him to commit a federal crime before reporting it. That's correct. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. That's very patient of you. I wanted to be thorough. She leans back in her chair. Mr. Sterling, in my experience, when someone discovers their spouse is cheating and their business partner is stealing, they tend to react emotionally. They confront people. They make scenes. They definitely don't spend 3 weeks calmly building a legal case. I'm not an emotional person, clearly. She flips through her notes. You're also not a person who makes mistakes. Every document you provided is perfectly organized. Every transaction is cross-referenced. Every email is time-stamped and verified. It's almost like you planned this. I meet her eyes. I did plan it. I planned to catch a criminal and provide law enforcement with everything they'd need to prosecute him. Isn't that what good citizens are supposed to do? Good citizens call us when they discover a crime. They don't manipulate the situation to ensure the criminal commits additional crimes. I didn't manipulate anything. Marcus chose to steal that money. I just created circumstances where his theft would have maximum legal consequences. You set a trap. I provided an opportunity. He took it. Special Agent Santos studies me for a long moment. You know what bothers me about this, Mr. Sterling? You're too calm. Your wife is in federal custody. Your business partner is going to prison. Your life has been completely upended. And you're sitting here like we're discussing the weather. Would you prefer if I cried? I'd prefer if you showed some sign of being a human being who's just experienced massive trauma and betrayal. I consider telling her the truth, that I've been processing this trauma for 3 weeks, that I've already moved through shock and anger and grief, and come out the other side into cold, clear certainty, that emotions are temporary but consequences are permanent. Instead I say, Agent Santos, I deal in numbers. Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't betray you. When I look at what Marcus and Elena did, I don't see it emotionally. I see it as a series of calculations that led to an inevitable conclusion. They made choices. Those choices had consequences. That's all this is, she repeats. Your marriage is over, your business is damaged, 2 people you trusted are going to prison. And that's just math to you? Yes, she closes her notebook. You're either the most rational person I've ever met or you're a sociopath. I haven't decided which yet. Does it matter? You have your criminals. You have your evidence. You have everything you need for a conviction. What I am or what I feel is irrelevant. See, that's what bothers me, she leans forward. It's not irrelevant to me, because I keep thinking about that account restructuring you did. The one that put the escrow money exactly where Marcus would accidentally take it. That took planning. That took intention. You wanted him to commit that specific crime. I wanted him to face appropriate consequences. For stealing from you or for sleeping with your wife, the question hangs in the air. I take my time answering. Both, she nods slowly. At least you're honest about that. I'm always honest, Agent Santos. The truth is the only thing that matters. Marcus stole from protected accounts. Elena helped him plan it. They were going to flee the country. These are facts. My motivations for exposing those facts don't change the facts themselves. No, she agrees. They don't, but they do make me wonder what else you're capable of. You spent 3 weeks living with these people, knowing what they'd done, showing nothing. That takes a special kind of control. Control is not a crime, no, but it's unsettling. We sit in silence for a moment. Through the wall I can hear muffled voices, probably other agents, other interrogations. Are we done? I ask. Almost. One more question. If you could go back to March 1st, the day you discovered the embezzlement, would you do anything differently? I think about this. Really think about it. No, I say finally. I'd do exactly the same thing. Because the outcome is exactly what it should be. Justice. Special Agent Santos stands up. You're free to go, Mr. Sterling. We'll need you to remain available for the prosecution. You'll be our primary witness, of course. I stand to leave, but she stops me at the door. Mr. Sterling, a piece of advice. When you testify, show some emotion. Juries don't like people who are too controlled. They need to see that this hurt you, that you're a victim, not just an accountant building a case. I'll keep that in mind. And Arthur, she uses my first name for the first time, get some therapy. What happened to you was terrible. The fact that you can't feel that, that's concerning. I nod and leave. I can feel it though, all of it. The betrayal, the anger, the hurt. I feel it every single day, burning cold and constant in my chest. I just don't let it control me. Numbers don't lie, people do. And when people lie, numbers destroy them. That's all this ever was. A simple equation with an inevitable solution. Marcus, it's been 2 weeks since the arrests. Time for an update, because holy shit, things have moved fast. Marcus is in federal custody, denied bail because he's a massive flight risk. His lawyer tried to argue he has ties to the community, but the prosecutor just held up the flight confirmations to Grand Cayman and the judge literally laughed. Bail denied. Elena made bail. Her parents mortgaged their house to pay it. But she's wearing an ankle monitor and can't leave the state. Her pharmaceutical company fired her within 48 hours of the arrest. That morality clause I mentioned, yeah, it's real and it's brutal. The divorce is moving forward like a freight train. Patricia Chen is a goddamn artist. She filed for divorce on grounds of adultery and fraud, citing Elena's participation in the embezzlement scheme. In our state, that means she gets nothing. Not the house, not the savings, not even her car, because it's in both our names, and I'm keeping it. Elena's lawyer tried to negotiate. Patricia laughed in his face and said, "Your client helped steal $740,000 from my client's business and was planning to flee the country with her lover. She's lucky we're not pursuing civil damages on top of the criminal charges." They shut up after that. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember how I said I'm not an emotional person, that Agent Santos thought I might be a sociopath? Well, she wasn't entirely wrong. 3 days after the interrogation, I got a call from the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. They wanted me to consult on Marcus's case. Apparently, his lawyer is trying to claim some of the transfers were legitimate business expenses, and they needed an expert to tear that argument apart. I said yes, obviously. So now I'm being paid by the FBI to help destroy my former business partner's defense. The irony is delicious. I spent 6 hours yesterday in a conference room with 2 FBI forensic accountants and the prosecuting attorney, walking them through every transaction Marcus made, showing them the patterns, the fake invoices, the shell companies, all of it. The prosecutor, a woman named Jennifer Park, who looks like she eats defense attorneys for breakfast, kept looking at me with this mix of admiration and unease. "You documented everything," she said. "Every single transaction has a corresponding piece of evidence proving it's fraudulent. How long did this take you?" 3 weeks, I said. "But I have a photographic memory for numbers. That helps." "Jesus Christ," one of the FBI accountants muttered. "I've been doing this for 12 years and I've never seen a case this airtight." "Arthur doesn't just build cases," Jennifer said, still looking at me. "He builds mausoleums. There's no way out of this." She's right. Marcus is fucked. His lawyer knows it, which is why they're already floating plea deal negotiations. The prosecutor is offering 12 years if he pleads guilty and agrees to full restitution. If he goes to trial, he's looking at 20 to 25. I hope he goes to trial. I want to testify. I want to sit in that witness box and calmly destroy him with facts and evidence while he sits there knowing he did this to himself. Elena's criminal case is more complicated. She didn't actually make any transfers herself, so they're charging her as an accessory and with conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Her lawyer is trying to paint her as a victim, claiming she was manipulated by Marcus, that she didn't understand what was happening, that she's just a woman in love who made bad choices. It's bullshit. I have her emails. I have her discussing the offshore accounts, the timing of the transfers, the flight plans. She knew exactly what she was doing. Patricia thinks Elena will take a plea deal, probably 3 to 5 years plus restitution. She's going to prison, Patricia told me last week. Maybe not for as long as Marcus, but she's definitely doing time. Good. The firm is in chaos, but it's manageable chaos. I had to explain to our clients what happened, had to reassure them that their money was safe. It was. Marcus never touched client funds directly, just our operational accounts and that one escrow. Most of them stayed. A few left, but honestly, those were clients I didn't want anyway. The ones who stayed have been incredibly supportive. One of them, a CEO named David Chen. Seriously, is everyone in this city named Chen? Even sent me a bottle of expensive scotch with a note. For having the balls to do what needed to be done, I'm hiring new staff. 3 new forensic accountants, all thoroughly vetted. One of them is a woman named Dr. Sarah Kim, who has a PhD in financial mathematics and worked for the IRS for 8 years. She's brilliant and ruthless, and I'm paying her what she's worth. I'm also restructuring the entire company. New name, just Sterling Financial Consulting now. New operating procedures, new ethical guidelines. I'm building something better from the ashes of what Marcus destroyed. My personal life is quiet. I'm living alone in the house for the first time in 8 years. It's strange. I bought that German Shepherd I mentioned, picked him up from a breeder last week. Named him Justice like I said I would. Justice is a good dog, loyal, honest, doesn't steal from me or fuck my business partner. Low bar, I know, but here we are. I've been getting messages from people who read my story online. Apparently this whole thing went viral on Reddit and some other platforms. People calling me a hero, calling me cold-blooded, calling me everything in between. Someone asked if I regret how I handled it, if I wish I just confronted them, worked it out, tried to save my marriage. Fuck no, you don't save a marriage built on lies. You don't work things out with someone who was planning to rob you and abandon you. You don't give second chances to people who saw you as a mark, a victim, a stepping stone to their escape plan. What I did wasn't revenge. Revenge is burning their clothes, slashing their tires, posting their nudes online. That's emotional, petty, temporary satisfaction. What I did was justice. I used their own greed and arrogance against them. I gave them exactly enough rope to hang themselves, then stepped back and watched them do it. And now they're facing the consequences of their own choices while I'm rebuilding my life exactly how I want it. Speaking of which, I went on a date last week. First one since Elena, a woman named Michelle who works as a prosecutor in the DA's office. We met through Jennifer Park, actually. They're friends. It was nice. We had dinner, talked about work, laughed about some of the ridiculous cases we've both seen. At the end of the night she said, "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" Jennifer said, "You were cold, calculating." She said you scared her a little. And you're not cold. You're just clear. You see things for what they are, not what you wish they were. That's not scary. That's refreshing. We're getting coffee this weekend. No expectations, no pressure. Just 2 people who understand that the world is complicated and that sometimes clarity matters more than emotion. Agent Santos called me yesterday. Said she wanted to check in, see how I was doing. "Are you sleeping?" she asked. "Yes." "Eating?" "Yes." "Having nightmares about your wife and business partner betraying you?" "No." "Should I be?" She was quiet for a moment. "Most people would be." "I'm not most people." "No," she agreed. "You're really not. Arthur, I've been doing this job for 16 years. I've seen a lot of victims of fraud and betrayal. They're usually angry or sad or broken. You're none of those things. I was angry for about 3 weeks. Then I channeled it into something productive. That's what concerns me. You channeled it into destruction. I channeled it into justice. There's a difference, is there? Because from where I'm sitting you orchestrated the complete annihilation of 2 people's lives. They orchestrated their own annihilation. I just made sure they couldn't escape the consequences." Another long pause. "Have you talked to anyone? A therapist?" "No, you should. What happened to you was traumatic, whether you want to acknowledge it or not." "I'll think about it." "I won't. I don't need therapy. I need my work, my dog, and the satisfaction of watching Marcus and Elena face exactly what they deserve. The preliminary hearing is in 3 weeks. I'll be there. Not because I have to be. The prosecutor has everything she needs without my testimony at this stage, but because I want to see their faces when the evidence is presented. I want to watch Marcus realize he's going to prison for a decade or more. I want to watch Elena understand that her life as she knew it is over. And I want them both to know that I'm the reason why. Not out of cruelty. not out of revenge, just out of simple mathematical truth. Actions have consequences and liars always get caught eventually. I just made sure it happened sooner rather than later. People keep asking me how I feel, if I'm okay. If I'm healing, I feel fine, better than fine. I'm free from a toxic marriage and a dishonest partnership. I'm running my company the way it should be run. I'm dating someone who appreciates honesty and clarity. I'm not broken. I'm not traumatized. I'm just clear about who I am, clear about what I value, clear about what happens to people who try to use me. One more update to come after the hearing. After I watch them plead guilty or watch the trial begin. After I see the final pieces fall into place. Almost over now, almost time for the final equation to balance. Final update. This is it, the end of the story. Figured you all deserve to know how it ends. It's been 4 months since the arrests. The legal system moves slowly, but when it moves, it's thorough. Marcus took a plea deal. 12 years in federal prison, full restitution of $740,000, and permanent prohibition from working in financial services. His lawyer convinced him that going to trial would mean 25 years minimum, and even Marcus isn't delusional enough to think he could win. The sentencing hearing was last week. I sat in the courtroom gallery 3 rows back watching. Marcus was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. He looked terrible, lost weight, gray skin, dead eyes. Federal custody doesn't suit him. The judge read through the charges, the plea agreement, the evidence. Then she asked if Marcus had anything to say before sentencing. He stood up, and for a moment I thought he might apologize, might show some remorse. Instead he turned and looked directly at me. "This is your fault," he said. "You set me up. You manipulated everything, so I'd take that money from the escrow account. You destroyed my life because you couldn't handle that Elena chose me over you." The courtroom went silent. The judge looked at him like he was an idiot. "Mr. Hayes," she said slowly, "are you seriously suggesting that Mr. Sterling forced you to embezzle $750,000? He created the circumstances that you chose to exploit," the judge interrupted. "Mr. Hayes, you had 18 months to stop stealing. You had 18 months to confess. You had 18 months to make better choices. You made none of those choices. That's not Mr. Sterling's fault. That's yours." She sentenced him to the full 12 years. No reduction for cooperation because he hasn't cooperated. He's still refusing to reveal where some of the earlier transfers went before I caught him. As they let him out, he looked at me one more time. I met his eyes and smiled. Just a small smile, just enough for him to know that yes, I set him up. Yes, I manipulated the circumstances. Yes, I destroyed him. And I'd do it again. Elena's case went differently. Her lawyer managed to negotiate a better deal: 3 years in federal prison, 2 years supervised release, $200,000 in restitution, her share of what they planned to steal. The prosecutor agreed because Elena, unlike Marcus, is cooperating fully. She's testifying about everything: the planning, the timeline, Marcus's other crimes I didn't even know about. Turns out Marcus had been stealing from previous employers too. Elena knew about it. She kept records, probably as insurance in case he ever turned on her. Smart woman. Terrible person but smart. Her sentencing was yesterday. I didn't go, I've seen enough of Elena, but Patricia was there and she called me afterward. She cried, Patricia said. Apologized to the judge, to her family, said she was a different person now and she'd made terrible mistakes. Did the judge buy it? Doesn't matter. The sentence was already negotiated. But Arthur, she asked about you, asked if you were in the courtroom. What did you tell her? That you'd moved on, that you had better things to do than watch her self-destruct. Good. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks ago. I got everything: the house, both cars, our savings, the dog. Okay, justice was always mine, but still. Elena walked away with nothing except her legal fees and a criminal record. Patricia sent me the final papers with a note. Congratulations on your freedom. You earned it. I framed that note, hung it in my home office next to my law degree. The firm is thriving. Sterling Financial Consulting is now one of the top forensic accounting firms in the region. We've taken on 6 major clients in the past 3 months, companies that heard about what happened and wanted someone who's proven he can catch fraud. Dr. Sarah Kim is incredible. She's already caught 2 cases of embezzlement at client companies that their own internal auditors missed. I gave her a 20% raise and a partnership track. She's exactly the kind of person I want building this company with me. I'm still seeing Michelle, the prosecutor. We're taking it slow. Neither of us is interested in rushing into anything serious. But it's good, healthy. She makes me laugh, challenges me intellectually, doesn't take my shit when I get too focused on work. Last week she asked me if I ever think about Elena. Sometimes, I said honestly. Not about missing her, more like wondering if there were signs I missed early on. If I could have seen this coming, could you have? Probably. If I'd been paying attention to the right things. And now I pay attention to everything. She kissed me. That's kind of intense, you know. The way you see people, like you're always analyzing them. Does it bother you? No, it's hot actually. You're like a sexy robot, I laughed. First real laugh I'd had in months. Agent Santos stopped by the firm last week. Said she was in the neighborhood, wanted to see how I was doing. We had coffee in my office. Justice lay at my feet, occasionally looking up at her with suspicion. You seem good, she said. Healthy. The business is clearly doing well. It is. And personally, also good. Dating someone. Sleeping fine. No nightmares, no breakdowns, no dramatic trauma responses. She studied me over her coffee cup. You know, when we first met, I thought you might be a sociopath. Genuinely. And now I think you're just someone who processed trauma differently than most people. You didn't fall apart. You built a case. And honestly, maybe that's healthier than what most people do, which is drink themselves stupid, have affairs of their own, make impulsive decisions. You made calculated decisions based on evidence and logic. It's unusual, but it's not wrong. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I'm also here to tell you that the FBI wants to hire you as a consultant, permanently. We have about 40 active financial fraud cases that could use someone with your particular skill set. I considered this. How much does it pay? She laughed. Always the accountant. It pays very well. Plus, you'd be helping catch people like Marcus, people who steal and lie and think they're too smart to get caught. Send me the details. I'll think about it. She did. I signed the contract yesterday. Now I'm an official FBI consultant for financial crimes. I'll work on cases part-time, analyzing evidence, building prosecutions, doing what I do best, finding the truth in the numbers. My parents called last week. They'd read about everything online. Apparently the case made national news because of how spectacularly stupid Marcus and Elena were. Are you okay, son? My dad asked. I'm fine, Dad. Better than fine. Your mother's worried you're repressing your feelings. I laughed. I'm not repressing anything. I just don't feel what you think I should feel. I'm not sad. I'm not angry. I'm just relieved. Free. Free is good, he said quietly. Free is what you deserve, he's right. For 8 years I was married to a woman who saw me as a mark. For 6 years I worked with a man who saw me as a victim. They both underestimated me because I'm quiet, because I focus on my work, because I don't make scenes. They learned their mistake. Slowly, painfully, completely. Yesterday I went to the cemetery where my grandmother is buried. She died 3 years ago. The woman who taught me that numbers don't lie, that truth always wins, that patience and precision are more powerful than emotion. I sat by her grave and told her everything. About Marcus, about Elena, about the trap I built and how perfectly it worked. You'd be proud, I said. I used everything you taught me. I didn't react emotionally. I built the case. I waited for the right moment. I let them destroy themselves. The wind rustled the leaves on the trees around me. Justice sat beside me, quiet and patient. I know what people think, I continued. That I'm cold, that I'm calculating, that there's something wrong with me because I didn't fall apart when my life exploded. But Grandma, you taught me that falling apart is optional. That I could choose to be strong instead of broken. That I could choose justice instead of revenge. I stood up, brushed the grass off my pants. I made the right choice, I know I did. Justice and I walked back to the car, drove home to my house, my firm, my life that's finally, completely my own. Tonight I'm having dinner with Michelle. Tomorrow I'm starting on a new FBI case, a hedge fund manager who's been running a Ponzi scheme for 7 years. Next week I'm interviewing another potential partner for the firm. My life is full, busy, meaningful. Elena is in prison, Marcus is in prison, I am free. The equation balanced exactly how it should have. So that's it. That's the end of the story. The architect who built a trap so perfect that the people who wronged him walked straight into it, locked themselves inside, and threw away the key. People ask me if I have any regrets, if I wish I'd done anything differently. Only one thing. I wish I'd realized sooner that I never needed them, not Marcus's partnership, not Elena's love, not anyone's validation or approval. I wish I'd known sooner that I was enough, that my work was enough, that my clarity and precision and honesty were enough, but I know it now, and that's worth more than anything they ever gave me. To everyone out there who's been betrayed, who's been lied to, who's been made to feel small by people who should have valued you, you're not broken, you're not less than, you're not the problem. They are, and you have a choice. You can fall apart, or you can build something. You can react emotionally, or you can respond strategically. You can let them win, or you can make damn sure they face every consequence they've earned. I chose strategy. I chose justice. I chose myself. And I'd make that choice again every single time. Thanks for following this journey. Thanks for the support, the comments, the messages. It helped more than you know. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a hedge fund manager to destroy. Numbers don't lie. And neither do I. The end for 6 years. We run a mid-sized forensic accounting firm together, Sterling and Hayes Financial Consulting. We're the guys companies hire when they suspect embezzlement, when divorce lawyers need asset searches, when the IRS needs expert witnesses. We're good at what we do, or I thought we were both good at it. My wife Elena and I have been married for 8 years. She's a pharmaceutical sales rep, makes decent money, travels a lot for work. We met in college, got married young, bought a house in the suburbs. The whole American dream package. No kids yet because we were waiting for the right time. Another ironic detail you'll understand later. 3 weeks ago I was doing our quarterly internal audit. Standard procedure. Every quarter I review all our accounts, client billings, operational expenses. It's boring as hell, but it keeps us compliant and honest. Or so I thought. I found a discrepancy, small at first, minus $3,200 in a client reimbursement account that didn't match the invoice records. Now $3,200 might not sound like much, but in forensic accounting any discrepancy is a red flag. It's like finding a single cancer cell. You don't ignore it. I dug deeper, pulled 6 months of records, then a year, then 2 years. Marcus has been stealing from our firm for at least 18 months. Maybe longer. I'm still tracing everything back. We're talking about $340,000 so far, and I'm only halfway through the analysis. He's been using a technique called salami slicing, taking tiny amounts from multiple accounts, so no single theft is large enough to trigger automatic flags, client reimbursements, operational petty cash, even our equipment depreciation fund. The man is good, I'll give him that. If I wasn't obsessively thorough, I might never have caught it. He's been doctoring invoices, creating fake vendor accounts, even setting up shell LLCs to invoice us for services never rendered. It's textbook embezzlement, executed with the precision of someone who knows exactly how forensic accountants think. Because of course he does. He is one. I spent 4 days in my home office barely sleeping, building the case. Elena kept asking if I was okay, bringing me coffee, rubbing my shoulders. "You're working too hard, baby," she'd say. "Come to bed," I'd smile, and tell her I was fine. Just a complicated case. She'd kiss my forehead and leave me alone. The photographic memory I've always had, the one that makes me exceptional at my job, was working overtime. Every transaction, every date, every routing number burned into my brain. I created a spreadsheet with 247 tabs documenting every fraudulent transaction. I color-coded them by method, by account, by time period. And that's when I noticed something else, something that made my stomach drop. The timing of the largest transfers coincided exactly with Elena's work trips. I pulled up her calendar. March 15th, Elena in Chicago for a pharmaceutical conference. Marcus transferred $18,000. June 3rd, Elena in Miami for a training seminar. Marcus transferred $22,000. September 8th, Elena in Vegas for a product launch. Marcus transferred $31,000. 10 instances over 14 months. Perfect correlation. I sat there at 3 a.m. staring at my monitors and felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger, not yet. Just this crystalline clarity, this mathematical certainty that I was looking at 2 parallel frauds. I checked Elena's credit card statements. Found charges at hotels Marcus's corporate card also showed charges at. Same hotels, same dates, different rooms on the same floor in 2 instances. They weren't even trying that hard to hide it. I could have confronted them right then. Could have called Marcus, called Elena, burned everything down immediately. But that's not how I work. I deal in evidence, in irrefutable proof, in building cases so airtight that denial becomes impossible. So I started building something else, not just a case, a trap. The thing about embezzlers is they always have an exit strategy. Always. They're not stealing money to sit on it. They're stealing it to use it. And if Marcus has taken $340,000 and counting, he's planning to run. I started monitoring his digital footprint. We share access to the firm's systems, which means I can see everything he does on our network. Every email, every file accessed, every website visited on company devices. It took me 3 days to find it. A folder buried in an encrypted partition on our shared server, labeled estate planning documents. Clever. Most people wouldn't look twice at something that boring. I cracked the encryption in 40 minutes. Inside were flight confirmations, hotel reservations, bank account numbers for offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, and a PDF scan of a passport. Elena's passport. They were leaving. Together, March 23rd, 2 weeks from today. One-way tickets to Grand Cayman connecting through Miami. They'd booked a beachfront villa for 3 months initially, with option to extend. I printed everything, saved it to 3 different encrypted drives, uploaded it to a secure cloud server. Then I deleted my access logs and closed the files like I'd never seen them. That night, Elena came home from dinner with a client at 11 p.m., smelling like Marcus's cologne. I know his cologne because we've worked in the same office for 6 years. It's this expensive shit he special orders from Italy. Unmistakable. She kissed me and said she was exhausted. I told her I understood, asked how the client dinner went. She gave me the same story she always gives, generic details about the restaurant, the client's name, what they ordered. Probably all lies. I smiled and told her I loved her. She said she loved me too. I watched her go upstairs to shower and felt absolutely nothing, no heartbreak, no rage, no betrayal. Just this cold, analytical part of my brain already working out the next steps. Because here's what Marcus and Elena don't understand. I don't just find fraud. I study it. I understand the psychology of it, the patterns, the inevitable mistakes every criminal makes. And I've built a career on using those mistakes to destroy them. They think they're so fucking clever. They think they've planned this perfectly. They think I'm too boring, too focused on my spreadsheets, too emotionally unavailable to notice what's happening right in front of me. They're about to learn that the most dangerous person in the room is the one who sees everything and shows nothing. I've got 2 weeks until their flight. 2 weeks to build the perfect trap. 2 weeks to make sure that when they try to run, they'll run straight into a cage of their own making. This isn't about revenge. Revenge is emotional, messy, unpredictable. This is about justice, mathematical, precise, inevitable justice. I'll keep you posted. I need to document this somewhere, and something tells me you folks will appreciate the story. Wish me luck or don't. Luck has nothing to do with what happens next.